Hello, and welcome to the solution demonstration for the Business Continuity Management application provided by MetricStream. My name is Mark Winey, and I'll be your tour guide today as we take a look at the application. My plan is to show you the application in 4 key steps. First, we're going to talk about business continuity management, how we do program management for business continuity, juggling all of those initiatives, and the reports that are available to us to manage them. Also, we're going to talk about defining our business continuity management program, the building blocks, the moving parts, and how they relate to each other. And a little bit about preparation, detailed definition of a business impact analysis, and a business continuity plan to ensure readiness. And finally, the execution of these plans for crisis management and proper response and remediation to reduce risk. So let's get started. Our first area to discuss is business continuity program management. So let's take a look at the interface and what's available. So I'm currently logged into the system as a business continuity manager, and based on my organization or department and my role within that department, I'm granted access to the proper applications and dashboards, the forms, and all the way down to the field level describing what type of data I can see and interact with. Users appreciate this because by delivering the right reports to the right users ensures that it's an intuitive system and it allows them to be productive much quicker. And of course, managers appreciate quick user adoption and lower training cost. Now, we're a web-based system. We run on any browser-enabled device, and we emulate that look and feel in the application. We have a tab structure and an interactive dashboard, and it feels very much like a web interface. And you can access it on any laptop or desktop or large screen device like an iPad. But if you want to be completely mobile and have a smartphone, we have apps optimized for smaller mobile devices as well. For example, here's a look at one of our mobile applications for business continuity management. I have a quick list of tasks that I can respond to. So I can look at these tasks and decide that perhaps I want to continue working on this business impact analysis. And I can just click and begin to perform that BIA by answering questions, yes or no, providing narrative, perhaps even recording video or audio, and collecting evidence. This evidence can be used for incident management when things actually occur, and I can attach reference material to support the BIA process. And the mobile application allows me to take key information with me. So I have access on the go to my business continuity plans, my disaster recovery plans, and other key organizational information that allows me to manage incident response and recovery. So back to our full application. For the key users, no matter where you are in the system, it's very easy to get to key information. I can receive notifications on my mobile device or in my email client, but if I'm logged into the full application, no matter what tab or what dashboard I pretend to be on, the navigation at the top allows me to quickly review my tasks or my calendar, whether it's here or in Outlook or Lotus Notes. Also an offline briefcase, and the ability to quickly do a universal search across information that I have permission to see, and even across applications on our platform. So, based on my role, I'll have more or fewer tabs based on what I'm allowed to see, and inside these tabs, I have a series of individual dashboards that allow me to organize information for myself, my department, and my team. These reports and dashboards are very interactive. The user does have the ability to easily export this information or collaborate by email, and also change the look and feel of the chart itself. If I wanted to change the look and feel of my dashboard, I can do that. I can bring in additional content that I have permission to see, and I can even change the layout by dragging and dropping information around the form. So that also drives user adoption to make it a very intuitive, unique interface based on the user's needs. And these dashboards are very interactive too. So see, these are some of the key out-of-the-box reports. If I want to look at the coverage of those areas with plans versus without plans, or which assets were covered or not covered, let's take a look at where the gaps are. So where are my business processes that are rated as critical without plans? I touch on the graph and it'll take me to a key detailed report to provide more information about the process, the owners, and other key information and links to those plans. I can also apply filters. So as I'm measuring trends, risk rating, and scores, perhaps I just want to focus on residual risk after testing has been performed. Also out of the box, I can quickly look at the status of key information across my organization. So all the business impact analysis that have been performed, I can look at the status in the workflow, as well as the workflow status of all of my business continuity plans, and these are all actionable reports with drill downs or links to further detail. As I can look at the status of risk assessments and open issues and remediation steps and even emergency notifications as well. Going a bit deeper, I can look at, do an analytical view of my business impact analysis, and I can see, let me just do the roll up here, at the organizational level, under an organization I can view the specific functions and business processes that relate to those functions, and all of this information is captured. The recovery time, the continuity plans are included here as links, as are the related assets. So presenting all this information in a clickable, viewable dashboard to visualize those relationships is key to managing your program. Also, our basic platform functionality for issue management allows you to manage issues or crises across your organization, identifying the severity of issues, the source, and the processes that they are related to. And these are also very interactive dashboards, and filters can be used and reused, so you can quickly focus on areas of interest, perhaps only those affecting your data center, and quickly filter these reports as needed. And this is all controlled by the users to quickly create reusable searches that they can quickly get back to and answer their key questions. Now what I've done for just a moment is I've actually logged in as a very different user, a user who is tracking third-party vendor relationships. And why would I discuss that in the context of business continuity? Because as I rate vendors that I do business with, there's a variety of risks that relate to these vendors, and one of the risks is, are these critical vendors? Are they mission critical to my business processes? So we can record that both in the business continuity management application as well as our vendor management application for third party, and they speak with each other seamlessly on our platform. So from this perspective, I can see several mission critical vendors, and it would probably make sense for those to verify if their business continuity plans and disaster recovery plans have been verified. And if they've not been verified, are backup vendors in place. And using dynamic dashboards, I can quickly visualize this data from the table and see a percentage or a graph showing me where we have backup vendors in place and where plans are verified or not verified. So that was a quick introduction to business continuity program management. Now we're going to take a closer look at how we define the building blocks of our business continuity program. How do we define that program? So this business continuity manager has the additional role and responsibility to be able to set up and create the components and map the components to visualize risk. So they have access to what we call our GRC library, and they can create all of the building blocks. They can identify areas of compliance that govern the program, specific assets or asset classes, which are systems of related assets, controls, evidence, and the list goes on. So you can map this and be quite detailed. You can map to your business processes, even specific products and services that your organization offers. So let's take a look at one of the first steps. if I wanted to, for example, to create an asset, it'll take me to an intuitive form to capture all the key information about that asset, providing a name, providing a detailed description, and according to your specific guidance and categories, identifying that asset type, locations, serial numbers, and these forms are certainly configurable as well. So rather than looking at a blank form, let's just take a look at a key asset report and how this information flows. So these are all the basic reports available to look at inventory. So if I want to look at one specific asset in inventory, I can visualize these relationships by touching the asset, navigating through the form, and seeing the relationships. For example, here's a description of the server or the asset. It's a server providing billing and customer details based on a data model, and we can attach those reference documents as well, classify it, identify our RTOs, recovery objectives, and more. We can also build out relationships. So if this asset fails, what organizations are affected? What areas of compliance relate to this asset? What other larger systems is it a part of? And what business processes and products are affected by this asset failing? Giving us a detailed view into the true consequence of losing this asset even for a few hours. To make the library uniform and to properly identify assets and other GRC library components, they also go through a workflow. So there's a configurable set of workflow steps to suggest, modify, categorize, and approve assets to be put in the library to ensure uniformity and to ensure that they are not duplicated in any way. So essentially, the manager with administrative responsibilities would go through this same setup process for other key components in the GRC library, whether they be assets, whether they be business processes, or other key information that needs to be captured. So now let's take a look at preparation of the business impact analysis first. The business impact analysis is optional for some organizations. It identifies and prioritizes information systems and key components that are critical to support the organization. It typically includes an assessment, prioritization of the business functions and processes, and the identification of several items that are critical to the process: potential impact and disruption, identification of legal and regulatory requirements, allowable downtime, and of course potential recovery time objectives, recovery point objectives, and more. So let's take a detailed look at a business impact analysis. From a dashboard or a list report, I can review the business impact analysis, and I'm just going to walk you through some of the key information that we would capture in a BIA. Now remember, these forms are highly configurable, which means if there's a tab that you don't need, it can be removed. If you need it modified, it can be renamed, and fields can be added accordingly. We do that at implementation and teach you and your staff how to modify the form without us if your needs change in the future. So under the Details tab, I can see individual details about the process, business criticality, and other key metrics that I'm capturing, including recovery times and other key objectives. The organization that can see the information and who is the original assessor and one or more approvers of the BIA in order to have it approved and placed into the library. The impact analysis itself, based on different impacts that I'm measuring, the staff and resources that are required, key people on my team, and again, crossover to third-party management. If there was a dependency on a third party, we can add that relationship here as well. Required processes, required assets, and the list goes on. It can be as simple or as comprehensive as you need to. And as I mentioned, everything goes through an approval workflow, which is itself highly configurable based on your needs. Now, the business continuity plan is really for response. An organization needs a BCP to respond to adverse scenarios and really keep your business running. So the business continuity plan is developed to create that organized set of steps, of procedures, of protocols, and other key information that you need to put in place to resume operations. The real key here is preparation. These roles, these resources, and processes need to be in place before the disruption occurs in order to be effective, so no critical time is lost. So here I have a list of plans that are published, and let's just take a look at a specific example of a business continuity plan for a business process. This is an account opening process, a process for acquiring and documenting and bringing in new customers, all of the internal process around that. So let me just open this for editing and we can take a closer look. And again, the form can be configurable based on your needs. So these would be your list of categories to describe the potential event that had occurred. Should that plan be available in the mobile app? We talked about mobile apps earlier. Security, which organizations can see it, who are the approvers, details about your activation teams to execute and remediate, and the dates and the review dates, because these plans should be frequently revisited. What organizations will be affected, processes, or other key information you'd like to track. And the plan itself, detailed here, and you can navigate to any part of the plan. You can edit, create structure, tables, attach files, embed files, and create additional sections as needed. And this also goes to the workflow for approval. And defining your response steps. A response step could be as simple as a task assigned to an individual person, like bringing a server back online. But if we're talking about an entire facility, these response steps can be very comprehensive, like a project plan with a team and multiple tasks and timelines and related tasks. So for this, we manage it through a Gantt chart view right here in the tool. That's available to you as well. So now that we've talked about BIAs and BCPs, we're going to move on and talk about the actual execution now that we've finished going through the preparation and documentation of our plans and our response steps. What happens if an incident actually occurs? So let's talk briefly about emergency notifications. We have an integration with Everbridge and can integrate with other notification platforms. Or we can manage notifications directly in the system here. We can create notifications based on reusable, configurable templates. Also, we can trigger them from inside the tool, and they would then come into our dashboard. So I'm receiving a notification here by email or on my mobile device, and then based on that notification, I can let people know my status. Everything's well, it doesn't apply to me, I'm not there, or assistance is needed. And of course, these incidents and crises are reported up to dashboards for reporting purposes and risk management purposes, and you can quickly filter accordingly and see a history of events that have occurred, so you can improve business processes, improve business continuity plans, and take more remediation steps. And finally, speaking of incidents, we want to be ever aware and forward-looking of risk, not only in our organization, but worldwide. And to that extent, we can use the MetricStream platform to look outward into the internet, into the news, into the social media for potential events unfolding that may affect our business. And we can then receive these alerts, external alerts, and take actions as information comes in, create notifications, log issues, and even view the alerts on a geomap. So, especially for larger worldwide organizations, whether it's a natural disaster, a flood, fire, or earthquake, we can actually visualize those alerts and how they may affect our facilities and our supply chain anywhere in the world. So that concludes our presentation today of our Business Continuity Management application. We hope you found this very brief overview to be helpful, and we would be happy to schedule time to provide a targeted demonstration or additional detail that might be well suited to your organization's needs. Thank you.